Hey, welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name is Daniel. I want to talk about the ultimate survival tool, and I'm actually not exaggerating really. It's Leatherman. It's the multi-tools, right? There's so many tools you can get in one small pocket carry, right? This is the Charge Plus. There was a toss-up really between the Charge Plus and the Signal when I was looking for, say, a survival tool. I like the Signal, right? It has a fire starter, it has a knife sharpener, it has an emergency whistle. So those are some items that really were kind of leaning me towards the Signal, but I went with the Charge Plus, and I'll show you why, right? If you're familiar with the Leatherman tools, or really any multi-tool, you have a lot of different tools in one. And I'm kind of flipping through looking for the blade. There are two items on the Charge Plus that kind of, as I said, swung me in that direction. There's so much stuff I can't even find. This was it. This was one right here, which is, it's the serrated blade with the gut hook. So somehow in my place in life, I find myself processing animals a lot. And if you're going to process an animal, that gut hook really goes a long way. It really helps you out. I like the serrated blade, but it was that gut hook was one of the items that sold me on the Charge Plus. And then if I can get in here, the scissors. So the Signal, for whatever reason, Signal doesn't have scissors. And I feel like scissors are very useful from a survival standpoint, to be able to have scissors to cut. Obviously, you've got plenty, you have no shortage of knives, and the tool's pretty simple. You just unlock and you close. Certainly pliers are always useful. Pliers and wire cutters. If you need pliers and you don't have them, you'll kind of wish you did. There's really no substitute for pliers. So I went with the Charge, 19 tools in one. Not going to go through every tool, but to me the big selling point was that gut hook on the serrated blade. Of course, you have a nice full-size knife, but I generally carry a pocket knife, and I would still carry a pocket knife even with this. I'm just kind of silly that way. My pocket knife deploys quickly, and this does not. File could also be useful as a tool. You might need a file sometimes, and you open it up, and you've got some of the standard stuff you'd expect in a tool like this. You've got your bottle openers and whatnot, but I feel like Leatherman, or really any multi-tool, it is a big part. It should be part of your preps, part of your EDC. This has a belt clip if you want, or the pouch. I just use the pouch. One thing about the pouch and the tool is it has a screwdriver, and it actually comes with a set of bits, so you can bust out the screwdriver and put in a Phillips or something else if you need to, just for basic use, right? So it actually has a screwdriver. Like, how often are you carrying around a screwdriver, right? And maybe you do, but probably not EDC. In this, you've got a screwdriver, and you can actually get an extension on the screwdriver. You get different screwdriver tips. You got a Phillips. So the advantage is functionality of having so many tools just in your pocket, right? You never know when you're going to need them, and it's always that thing of, would you rather need them and not have them, or have them and not need them? So you don't have to necessarily go with the Leatherman. Certainly it's not the cheapest brand out there. The Charge is not the cheapest Leatherman. So it sold me. They sold me with that gut hook. I might look at the Signal, right? Christmas is coming up, which is, to me, means Black Friday, right? You're going to get a lot of great sales. I might see if the Signal comes in at a good price. I also like that idea of having a little fire starter with you, having a knife sharpener with you, having the whistle with you. There's some pretty cool options on that as well. And you can look at the other line. Like, Leatherman's got a great line of tools. I'm not sponsored, but certainly if they want to send me free Leatherman tools, I'd be happy to do reviews all day, right? They got some great tools, but none of the Leatherman stuff's cheap. My friend just showed me a Leatherman tool, which is scissors. It's actually a pair of medical scissors that folds out, and it has a seatbelt cutter, which could be certainly a survival item, right? And then it had a ring cutter. So if you're doing first aid, you might need a tool to actually cut someone's ring off. This one's silicone, so that doesn't really matter. But if you're the kind of person that wears the metal rings, if that ever got crushed, cut off circulation, you'd need to find a way to cut that ring off. So there's a Leatherman tool for that. I think the Surge might be the one that's geared towards people that do a lot of electronics work. So it's a lot of tools. It's a lot of tools. tools you just carry around in a little pouch and you don't think about it, right? We talk about the 10 C's, the 5 C's, the 3 B's, all those different acronyms that we've gone through before, and something like a Signal checks a lot of boxes. It's a pocket knife. How often are you carrying around a knife sharpener? How often are you carrying around a ferro rod, an emergency whistle? So that one, as I said, it was a tough choice between that and the charged carry, but for me it was having that knife with a gut hook, right? Having those scissors, having that screwdriver, having some really nice pieces there that could come up, and actually it surprisingly seems to come up a lot. Where, hey, I gotta process an animal and I'm using my pocket knife. Sure wish I had a gut hook, and it may not be something for everybody that you need, maybe not every day, but often enough that it's like, yeah, I just have my Leatherman tools. So I do feel like that company has done a great job. It's just like the Swiss Army knife, right? Swiss Army knife is that same ideal, as you can pack a lot of tools, you can check a lot of boxes with a very small device that you can carry around with you. Really, EDC, as I said, this is sort of on my EDC list, the old man with the tool on the belt. But if you don't want to carry it in a pouch on your belt, again, it's got a belt clip, or you can get, if you want the Kydex, if you like that instead of the nylon pouch, they got all sorts of pouch ideas. And this even has some expansion spots on the pouch where you could put in something like the extension, right? So as I said, the screwdriver has an extension rod. So maybe it's not the only prep you need, maybe it's not the only survival item you need, but as far as the ultimate tool, maybe it is, right? You see, if you watch any of the survival shows, I'm sure some of you do, stuff like Alone. Everybody on Alone, right? They're using their multi-tool. Maybe it's a Leatherman, maybe it's not. I'm not saying that's the only brand or that it's the best brand. It might be, but I'm not saying necessarily it is. I've shown a Gerber one before that's a pretty good little multi-tool as well. There's ones that have belt clips, right? But take your time. If you're looking at a multi-tool, as I said, Black Friday's coming up, sales are coming up. You're gonna see some good prices that you don't get year round. It might be time to look at it if you don't have one. It just gives you those capabilities, right, that you don't normally have. I said I still EDC the pocket knife because it's the speed. This is not necessarily going to be quick. Even if it's on a belt clip, you're going to fumble. I feel like even if you practice, maybe you practice to get the knife out quick or something like that, you hope to never be in a situation where you have to get the knife out quick, but just the time it takes to get that out, I still like to carry, a pocket knife along with the Leatherman, right? That's just me. So something to think about. See what's out there. See what you can afford. And so the Leatherman has a whole line of tools, and it really, you can look for one that sort of fits in with your normal life, the normal kind of activities you might do, that you might need basic tools for. Whether you do electrical work a lot, hey, there's one for that. If you're a medic or a nurse or something like that, there's one for that, right? If you want something hangs on your belt like a keychain, there's one for that. So there are a lot of them out there. Look at the types of tools. I said this is 19 tools in one. There's 20 tools in one, or even just an old school Swiss Army knife, right? Something like that. It's the ability to check a lot of those prepper boxes, in one time. Do you have those basic tools with you? You never know, right? You might not know when you're in a situation where you need it. So I hope that helps out. Once again, ultimate survival tool, maybe, as I said, probably. So thank you for watching. I'm just kind of rambling here, but we appreciate you.